Friends, welcome back to the show. Last week I had the honor of talking to some aspiring floral entrepreneurs and business owners, and I thought it would be really fun to share a little clip from that speech that I gave so that I can help inspire you and give you some tips and strategies for creating your own business. So as part of the speech, I had put together a neat guide that I'm going to share with you as a fun gift. And in that guide, I break down exactly like 5 steps that you can take to start your own business. And I think that they're some of the most important steps that you're going to need to take because it really irons down your aligned clients, branding, and marketing. Because at the end of the day, if you're not marketing to the right people, you're just wasting your time, honestly. You can find the guide at lyssmorton.com/coaching, COACHING. Some of the key things I talked about with the group were niching down, identifying your aligned clients, marketing, and everything in between. I even share some of my favorite resources, and I was able to score some affiliate links and discount codes for you guys so that you're able to take advantage of some discount codes that are tools that I use every single day in my business. I seriously wouldn't survive without them, and I certainly wouldn't be referring them to you if they didn't work. So thanks again for watching the show and listening to the show on podcast, and let's roll it. So I heard that you guys want to start businesses. So I put together a handy little thing. There was supposed to be printed in a booklet, but I canceled my order last minute, so I had to go to Walgreens and get it printed. Thank you. So these are my top things that I've learned, at least in my first year in business, year and a half, that have helped me. I put a list of my favorite resources on my website. They're all linked so that they're easy for you to grab and use if you like them. There's free trials for all of them. So, do a lot of you already have businesses, or are you looking to start your businesses?
Come on, speak up, everybody.
I have one. Okay. So how long have you guys been in business? Okay. And where are you guys at in the process? Are you booking weddings? Are you doing retail?
Everything. Yeah.
That's where I was last year. That's where I was last year. So you're in your year of yes.
Yeah.
Where you're taking on everything and anything that you get. My advice is to get the reviews and build your portfolio and only publish the work you want to do, because people see what you're posting and they say, I want that. And if you hate that, you don't want to do that anymore. So for the people that want to start their business, I put together a couple things that will get you started. First, you want to identify your niche. There's a list of all sorts of different niches in there. Starting with retail, sympathy and funeral arrangements. You can do weddings and events like I do. I also do floral preservation and resin. So that's an option that if you wanted to preserve florals instead of doing the actual weddings. You could do flower farming like Jenny. If you wanted to get into the wholesale market, you could be the middleman between farms and florists. You could do workshops and small events if you wanted to do birthday parties and bridal showers instead of large-scale weddings. Do corporate, bow and dry floral arrangements and sell them. Holiday decor, I know a couple people that design holidays for people's in their houses, and they make tens of thousands of dollars doing that, so it's a good market to get into. But there's a lot of options out there for you. Next, you want to identify your aligned client, because not everyone is your client, and I've learned this the hard way. Your aligned client should be somebody that brings you joy to work with, pays you well, doesn't complain about paying, will give you a rating review, and you enjoy working with. If they want to make you rip your hair out, they're not a good client for you. I have had some clients like that very first one that was not an aligned client. So now I am targeting my aligned clients. I ask them after we have the events, how was your experience with me? like, what were you looking for when you were booking an event? How did I meet that? Like, trying to get into the specifics of why they booked me so that I can book more people like them. Because if they were looking for a certain aesthetic versus like price, then I know that they didn't care about the price. Like, what do you do for a living? Where do you live? You know, like, who are you friends with, kind of things, so that I can target more people like them. Also, along with that, you want to make sure that your marketing strategy aligns to that. So you might want to target your social media, make sure that you're working those bridal shows if that's what they attend, if they're going to be, if they're on LinkedIn, not Facebook or Instagram instead of TikTok, like, you want to be where your aligned client is. Something that I invested in recently was a full rebrand in my business so that I could target the brands that like the people that I want to work with. And they redid my website, they got my logo, my colors, because I wanted to speak to a more upscale bride and not so much like a cutesy, like, low budget bride. So by doing that, that has up-leveled my professionalism, and their immediate like response when they come to my website is, oh my gosh, can you do my wedding? And instead of, are you available? What's your going rate? Where do you start? So by having that kind of like persona, like people are seeing, they already know that they want to work with me.
Who did you work with to do your rebrand? Somebody you recommend?
Yeah, it was Rebel Studio Design. She was actually based out of Kansas City. She was phenomenal to work with, like, really genuinely. And I put her information on my website so you guys can reach out to her if you guys are interested. So I gave you some prompts to help you identify your brand identity, your voice, your values, because these are things that are going to speak to your aligned client when you are trying to target them. This is like all the stuff that I struggled with when starting my business, is like the back end business stuff. So that's why I wanted to give it all to you. With your website and socials, I kind of touched on it. You want to be consistent. Make sure that you're posting regularly so that people know what you're up to, where they can find you, that you're there, that you're still doing weddings and events or retail, whatever you want to do. And I also plugged a couple of my favorite tools, like for social media in particular. I schedule it all in advance. I put it in an app that plans it for me so I don't have to be on there every day thinking, what am I going to post today? So I'll take like 2 hours at the beginning of like every 2 weeks, and I'll pull all my photos in there, and it's ready to go for the week. So I put my favorite apps in there too. With your marketing strategy and your sales process, you want to make sure that you communicate professionalism, especially in the weddings and events. People want to see that you're organized, that you've done this before, even if you haven't, like fake it till you make it kind of mentality, or the act as if. That's more positive framework. You want to make sure that they know that you've done it before, essentially. So this is something that I really worked hard to dial in on as my process, because I wanted to make people know that I was an upscale florist, even though I hadn't done a wedding over $10,000 yet. So that's something that you want to work on figuring out. Like, you want to have your inquiry process. So are you going to have a sales call, or are you going to do a video chat, or an in-person consultation? Are you going to have an onboarding process where they have to, what kind of contract are you going to use, proposal template, stuff like that. So of course I linked all of that in the thing for you, but you want to have a client experience. Are you going to send them surprising gifts throughout the planning process, just to give you that little extra oomph, when they pick you, wow, I really picked the right florist for me. And then something to offboard them. Are you sending them something to leave reviews? Are you asking them how your experience was? Are you sending them an anniversary gift, on their 1-year anniversary? Stuff like that. And then just some quick tips. Again, I said be consistent. You don't want to, if you're doing something, stick with it, follow it through. One of my favorite people that I follow is Ed Milet, and he teaches the concept of compound pounding, he calls it, and it's like a kid hitting a pinata. The more that you work at something, the quicker your goal is going to come. So if you're only on your first 3 tries, don't give up, because it might take 25 tries to get it right. So with my weddings and my process, I didn't charge correctly in the beginning. And I was like, okay, that's my learning experience. I'm going to provide a kick-ass experience for them, and they're going to leave me a great review. And then I'm going to charge correctly next time. So when people ask, what did that wedding cost? I can say, this is what it costed. And tell them the right rate instead of what they actually paid. So I just did a wedding at the Grove at Centerton, and I didn't charge correctly for the centerpieces. I still made money, but not as much as I should have. So next time I'm like, these are actually $300 a centerpiece and not $200. You know, like, figure that out. And that was Mother's Day. So I should have charged even more than that because it was Mother's Day weekend. But these are all things that you're going to learn as you do it. And keep in mind, like, holiday weekends, charge probably 15% more for your flowers because of the cost of flowers going up for Mother's Day. So some things that I put together for you on my website, it's called gardeningkinds.com/floral-coach. And I've got some white files for you with my email templates, so that everything that I use when my clients inquire, going through the inquiry, like client experience process, so that you can easily just pull it and use it. I put my proposal template on there because I've gone through about 1 million of them, and I ended up making my own. And that was just so that I like to walk people through their wedding when I do my proposal, and I do it over Zoom, so that they can feel like a connection with me. As far as a lot of people just hop on the phone and just say, what's your style? What colors do you like? Okay, my bridal bouquet started at $200, $75 a bridesmaid. I don't itemize, I don't do any of that. I walk them through their wedding, they get the feelings, they get the emotions, they see how everything's gonna tie together, they see the benefits that I'm providing, and then they're like, okay, let's do it. That's the goal at the end of it, is to get them to sign on the spot. Like, you don't want to send them off and say, okay, we'll think about it. Like, you want them to book you right then and there, and you're committed to their date, comes off your calendar, and you're good to go, instead of the whole back and forth or ghosting kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I got in here. Do you guys have any questions that I can answer?